Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
The bane of many of our existences is meal planning. Don't ask me what's for dinner. Don't ask me what I want to eat. Why am I in charge of meals from now till eternity? It's awful. And what happens is, like, we get to that point in the day, it's like you don't have anything left. And now all of a sudden it's time to make a lot of decisions and you don't have much capacity left. So if you plan and you do it on Sunday, if you're like, a lot of my clients are like, oh, I don't want to eat what Sunday me decided.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast. I'm your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by the lovely Bree Tucker.
Yo, what's up, 2025? I was trying. I noticed on a couple of episodes I had a different intro. So
you had a different intro.
Yeah,
well, we're about a month into 2025 now, but it's still the excitement. We're still going. Bree and I had the best podcast conversation before we welcomed today's guest on. As our guest today, who you'll soon meet, came on, Bree was like, "Can you hear my dryer?"
And then I was talking about how my dog will go after the Amazon delivery people all the time because you could see right out to the sidewalk and he's like, "Get away."
But you're always so focused on the sound quality because you edit the sound. And I'm the one who edits the Instagram and the video. And here I am. I'm like, I need to bite my lips because they're not red enough. And I haven't put on any lipstick. So all of these conversations.
It's because I'm wearing my lipstick today. You can't wear red lipstick against somebody. And it does make it look like you're so much more done up than you are.
It does. All you need is lipstick. Well, today we have a fantastic conversation for you because we are all talking about parenting with ADHD. And both Bree and I can attest she is dancing right now in while I am speaking. But we are so excited to introduce you to Patricia Sung. She is an ADHD coach for moms who have ADHD, and she supports mamas worldwide through her Top 5 Parenting podcast with 1 million plus downloads, Motherhood and ADHD. Her ADHD coaching focuses on ending burnout and building systems you actually like. So important when you have ADHD to make ADHD motherhood easier. She's the busy mom to 2 kids, and you can catch her this year at our 2025 Happy Mom Summit, which we have a link for you in the show notes. So with that, let's get on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
Welcome, Patricia, to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here, especially after getting to meet with you and record your session for the Happy Mom Summit a few months ago.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for having me back. I cannot wait to dive in. When I'm with my people, I get extra excited. So,
and we are your people.
We are your shiny squirrel girls. Any shiny object we will get, we will just follow and go and run after it. Because both of us, neither of us were diagnosed with ADHD. I'm still not officially diagnosed, by the way. I have extreme anxiety. And my therapist was like, so what do you hope to gain from an ADHD diagnosis that you're not doing already? And I'm like, I don't know.
I guess just to know I'm not crazy, I guess. I don't know. But we were also saying how I'm not diagnosed either. However, in true fashion, I have been given a referral, multiple, and I asked for the referral. Give me a referral. I'd love to go and see if this is an actual thing or if I'm just thinking I have bigger struggles than I do. And I have yet to make that appointment. That is.
And Patricia,
I'm like, should we dive in or is this just an intro and I need to stay on task? What?
Well, I was going to say, Patricia, you were diagnosed your freshman year of college.
I was. So for me, I still consider it a later diagnosis because I wasn't a kid. I mean, granted, I had just turned 18. So technically I was a grown up But
That's a very technical point. I think most of us as parents would be like 18. Do they really know what they're doing yet? No.
Actually, the brain does not stop growing until it's 25 years old.
Right.
So kids between 18 and 25 do need a lot more guidance and stuff. So just to put another pin in that point, go ahead, Patricia. You can tell you're talking to ADHD yourself.
Well, like when we all get together and we all recognize that this is who we are, people tend to drop their masks a lot. And then we really get the full effect of the enthusiasm. So I'm prepared. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, yes. So I was diagnosed my freshman year of college. That means I did not know all growing up. But like if you go back and look at my report cards, you're like, oh, okay. Makes sense. And you can see where like I'm not a hyperactive person, but I am a mentally hyperactive person. So my hyperactivity shows up in anxiety and like OCD thoughts and a lot of rumination. So a much more mental hyperactivity. But I didn't know all growing up. And it's not until I went to college when all of a sudden all of my systems and setups were completely different. And I didn't have the support and structure that I thought that I had internally created, and it wasn't there all of a sudden. I realized it was much more external structure that was now missing. I really floundered that first year of college. And mind you, like I was there on scholarship, like academic scholarship. I was like a National Honor Society kid, had multiple like offices in different clubs. Like I was an organized, excellent star student, and then went to college and almost failed out.
Wow.
Because I didn't have my structures in place. So thankfully, when I went to the student health center, I met with a doctor who recognized what it was, which it was quite unusual back in, because
that is quite unusual.
It was the year 2000. It was my freshman year of college, and she knew and she recognized it, and she sent me to the what's it called? The Student like Services Center. And so I luckily got matched up with a young lady who was doing her master's in this area. So she gave me like the full battery of like, I mean, hours and hours upon testing that she did. And so it was really cool to see like, oh, wow, like look at all these things where I'm in the 99th percentile. And then you come to like my short-term memory was like the 3rd grade level.
Oh, wow.
You're like, oh, okay. So it's all coming together now. This is why, like, I look back at my childhood and I'm like, you know, those like math fact sheets, there was like 100 of them and they would time you on how fast you could do them. I was terrible at those. And like spelling, not my forte. You are like, hey, like if my kids are like, hey, can I have, yogurt for breakfast? 2 minutes later, I'm like, wait, what did you want for breakfast? I don't remember. Oh, yeah. I'm not being like, and it's not that I'm not paying attention. It's not that it's not important to me. Like I don't know. And like when I look back, I'm like, I'm just so lucky that I saw someone who recognized it and knew where to send me. Now, keep in mind though, this is the year 2000. So the support I got was not like, it was good, but not great, because we really didn't understand it that well. And even now we don't give people the best advice and strategies when they get diagnosed. I really wish they did. They don't. Let me not get on this soapbox right now. But like I got matched up with that lady who was doing her master's. She was like, hey, my friend's in law school. She has ADHD. And this very sweet young lady who is in law school taught me how to study. She's like, here's what you need to do when you have ADHD.
That's awesome.
That is how I actually made it through school, was the like community aspect of somebody taking me under their wing and being like, this is what you need to do for your brain.
I wish there was more support for that. Like this, because like you said something that I really keyed in on. In fact, I keyed in on it so much, my brain started like going off in another direction, and I had to catch it and bring it back to where we were. Because you said structures and you didn't have the structures in place. And I think that's something that is so misconstrued about ADHD. Many people think, I believe, this is my soapbox, this is my armchair expert theory, that if you have ADHD, you have to be medicated and you can't do certain things. And ADHD kind of becomes an excuse for not doing things. And it's not that at all. ADHD is just a pinpoint that, hey, you need some different things to be able to work well. You need some different ways of doing things and some different supports. So when you said structures and then you were taught how to study by the law school student, I'm all like, ooh, like this is going to be really good.
Yeah. And I think structure gets a bad rap because a lot of times when you have ADHD, you don't do well with like a lot of boringness in the way of like,
oh, that's
when
true.
people hear the word like routine and structure and consistency, it's like people feel like they can't do those things. So therefore they like buck the system. They're like, I'm not doing any of that. And that's not true. We actually do really well. Like I like to equate it more to like when you go bowling and you put the bumpers up, you want to have these bumpers in place to keep you on track. But it's not to say like, it's not so that you're like stuck in the middle of the alley. It's so that you stay on the like path you want to be on. So the structure is there to support you. The structure is there to, like, a lot of it, especially for moms, is lowering the decision fatigue. When you're constantly making decisions over and over again, it uses up your energy. It uses up your mental capacity. So when we can create structure that eliminates that and allows you to like batch decisions or make the decision one time so you don't have to make it again, that's the kind of structure we need, is the things that support us and take off the mental load, not to constrain you like you're in prison.
Did you know that when your metabolism is working properly, you'll feel better in every aspect of your life? That is why I am so excited about Lumen, guys. It is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. Haven't heard of it yet? You need to. Because with just one breath in the morning, Lumen analyzes your metabolism and tells you if you're burning fat or carbs. And then with the app, it gives you a personalized nutrition guidance to fuel your day. And I love that it can also help me with my perimenopause symptoms, just by adjusting recommendations to help me keep my energy up and my cravings down. No more guesswork, just science-backed insights to help you feel your best. Because getting the results that we're looking for, it's all about understanding and improving our health. So take the next step to improving your health and go to lumen.me/guilt to get 20% off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.me/GUILT for 20% off your purchase. And thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. So we recently tried a sweet treat swap using Thrive Market. Our new family favorite is Hunks, the chocolate-covered cashews and almonds, which, Joanne, I know your family loves too. I love that they are keto-friendly, as my husband and I are pretty carb and sugar conscious. But the amazing part, you guys, is that my daughter, who is crazy picky and judgy about all my food choices, she even loves them too.
Yeah, I loved Thrive Market. Our favorite was the Healthy Swap scanner, which you scan a product you're used to buying and it instantly recommends cleaner, healthier alternatives. I love the sugar-free Hunks as well. And I found wine without the sulfites added, so no morning headaches for me.
For me, I absolutely love the filters. It helps me find better options like low sugar, food allergies, because our entire family has to avoid dairy and gluten a lot of the time. And it is a relief knowing that I don't have to go to 3 different stores anymore, which takes up my time and money. Plus, I discovered 2 new family favorites, the Hunks, which we cannot say enough about, and my husband loves the Hop Tonic Chamomile Lavender Sparkling Tea.
Ooh, so ready for a junk-free start to 2025? Head to thrivemarket.com/NGM and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/NGM. thrivemarket.com/NGM. When I was in high school, I struggled with an eating disorder, and it was something that I kept pretty secret from everybody around me because of all the stigma of eating disorders that there was at the time. And if there was something like Equip, I probably would have needed it. Equip is a virtual evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that can help your child heal while staying at home. Built by experts in the field, Equip provides your family with a dedicated care team that can include a medical provider, therapist, dietitian, and peer and family mentors who have been through the recovery process and provide you with extra support. Equip treats all types of eating disorders, is covered by insurance, and has no wait list. If you are at all concerned about your child's eating habits, don't wait. Reach out for help. Eating disorders don't go away on their own, and early intervention is key to helping protect your teen's mental and physical health. Visit equip.health/NGM to get a free consultation from Equip. That's equip.health/NGM. Yes, and we are going to talk about examples of exactly how you can do that right after this. So right before we broke, we were talking about these structures that we could put in place. And Bree and I were talking at the beginning before you came on, Patricia, and she has this great metaphor about what it's like with ADHD.
Yeah, and I don't remember where I saw it. You probably have seen it too, because I've seen it come up a few times in like Reels or TikToks about how life is life, right? But some of us are driving a beat up 1974 Beetle bug with a terrible transmission stick shift, and we are just grinding those gears, trying to get our car to get us through life. And we assume that everybody else is driving this same beat up Beetle with these like things that go high wire all the time. And eventually, as we get older and we become adults, we are maybe having conversations where we're kind of letting our guard down and we're talking about the transmission problems on our car. And then we find out that, wait a second, they're driving Teslas. What?
Yeah.
What?
They don't have these problems.
There's other options? Wait, what? Like, I feel like that's part of me with the whole, I always question whether or not I have ADHD, even though, like you said, growing up, my parents would tell teachers, do not set her anywhere near a window. You will lose her. All of my report cards were like, great girl, very smart, talks a lot, very easily distracted and taken off, the thought process, as I am right now, clearly. And then like, I remember even moving out to Arizona, I would have to get out of the moving van and run laps around the car a few times because I was just, and you can't even sit in a meeting with me without me like tapping my leg, tapping my hand, clicking a pen. Like I have to be jittering, doing something all the time. And
overactive mind. So we were talking about structures that we could put in place to help with ADHD, especially as moms. And I want to dig into that a little bit more with you, Patricia, because I think these are super interesting. So first you mentioned something about decision making. What could moms put in place to help with this mental load of decision making?
So I love looking at patterns and finding the things that are repeatedly occurring. And that's going to give you the clue of where you can do something about it. So for example, a lot of like the bane of many of our existences is meal planning.
Oh, I hate it.
Like
don't ask me what's for dinner. Don't ask me what I want to eat.
Yeah. Like don't ask me what's for dinner. Don't ask me what I want to eat. Like, why am I in charge of meals from now till eternity? It's awful. And at the same time, it's like, as a mom, that is a thing that keeps happening over and over again. And it's not going away. And where we get into trouble is usually that we haven't thought about it at all because a lot of times we have time blindness. And like, keep in mind that when we talk about ADHD, like everyone's different. So like when I say I'm struggling with this, it doesn't mean that you have to struggle with that in order to have ADHD. It's not like everybody's different.
Well, when you guys were talking about like the grades and everything like that, I was a totally different student, straight A's, favorite child in the class, that sort of thing. But I was also geared with a lot of fear, and I was taught by nuns, and there was a lot of punishments involved in that to get me to stay like that. But just to say that.
That's scary.
I would say, I'm like, I'm going to stay on task. Let me hold on. I'm like,
Yes,
I really want to dive down that rabbit hole, but I'm going to stay on task. So when we think about like meal planning, where we usually end up with the struggle is we don't have a good sense of time. And all of a sudden it's 5:30 and we don't know what's for dinner. We're not sure what's in the fridge or the pantry. We really should have started cooking probably 45 minutes ago in order to feed everyone. Now people are getting hangry. And now it's a disaster.
Do you have a window into my house? Because that sounds like every night of the week.
I may have a few clients who I've had this discussion with before. And what happens is like we get to that point in the day, it's like you don't have anything left. Like you've already been going all day long. You have probably made it through many a tantrum or meltdown or like the after school homework battle. And now all of a sudden it's time to make a lot of decisions. And also like your attention has to be on children and please don't burn the food. And at that point, you don't have much capacity left. So that is not the time for us to be making decisions about things. That's the time where we just have to like do the minimal amount of effort. So that means that decision needs to come earlier in the day. So if you're one of those like people who's really into meal planning and you do it on Sunday for the whole week, like, applause for you. But if you're not, if you're like, a lot of my clients are like, oh, like I don't want to eat what Sunday me decided. Like
Oh my
Tuesday
God, that's me. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm feeling so seen right now. I'm trying not to cry. Oh my God. Sunday Brie makes decisions that Wednesday Brie hates. That's all I gotta say.
And I'm like, little side tangent. Sometimes that is, don't tell me what to do. And sometimes it's just, I don't feel like that. And so like, I approach those very differently with clients because the root of why Wednesday you does not want to eat what Sunday you decided is different. So like we need to do it a different way. If it's more like, don't tell me what to do, Sunday me, or versus like, well, I really thought spaghetti sounded good, but now it sounds gross and I don't want that. So like we have to approach it a different way. But knowing that, it's like, okay, I don't want to be the person that plans Sunday to like for like a whole week straight because I don't want to eat whatever I decided a few days ago. So it's like, okay, can we just make that decision earlier in the day? Is that decision like, is this something that I'm going to do like before lunch? That way I know what I have to do to solve that problem later, but I'm not solving it when I have no energy left. I can solve it before 9 a.m., which hopefully I haven't, lost my mind too many times yet. And in that case, like we come up with a plan of like, okay, maybe you can't just like zip off to the grocery store. So how do we have some like meals that are like, okay, you're going to have 3 options here and you can pick from them. Or you just have staples in your family where like everyone will be fine with these things. So I can pick one of these 3 options. So it's not to say that you have to be the super organized person that meal plans the full week, but we do want to take that decision to a time where you have capacity for it.
Yeah. That is a great point.
And you can figure out all of the nuances to it at one time so that it's not at, come 5 o'clock, now you have to decide what you're going to eat, what's in the fridge, do I need to go store? And all of a sudden there's 15 things to do. That's too much. So how do we make that easier for you earlier?
And all of a sudden DoorDash sounds better, doesn't it?
Well,
Joanne?
yeah. And also like you have to deal with yourself during that period too, because you're talking about being tired, being like frustrated. And I don't know about you guys. I know that a trait of ADHD is like a lack of body awareness in space. And I have that. I'm the girl who like runs into counters. I run into walls. Taking that decision off my plate at that time is great because here's what I did last night. I do meal plan at the beginning of the week. I use an AI meal planner. It's called Mealime, where I just have to tap pictures of what I want to make and it creates the grocery list, which I then text to my husband. It's the most amazing thing ever. But last night it was steak. We were making a steak. And so here I am at the finally get upstairs at 6:30. And I'm like, crap, I forgot to take the steaks out to let them warm up to room temperature. And so I'm running to our garage fridge to get the steaks out of there to warm up to room temperature. As I'm doing that, I'm I salt them, I pepper them, and I'm putting them in the microwave so our dog doesn't get them because they can't stay out on the counter.
Yeah.
As I'm doing that, I hit the plate and both steaks fall on the floor and the dog is right there. And I'm like, no, but I go and my son is in the bed. My son is in his bedroom and he's like, Mom, are you okay? And I'm like, I look at the steaks, I pick them up, I put them back in the plate. I'm like, yep, I'm fine. Oh! And luckily my dog did not get it because she was around the corner. I acted that fast. I was able to act that fast. But yeah, klutziness is a part of it. And I need all those decision things taken off my plate for me to actually function at night.
I thought your steaks were going to be in the freezer and that this was just a done deal. Because that happens a lot too. I didn't even defrost the thing that I was supposed to make today.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're doing drive-through again.
That happens to me all the time. All the time.
But where that kind of falls apart too is if you had this great plan and it doesn't come together because you forgot to defrost it or take it out of the fridge or, the other day I was making mugu gai pan, which is literally it means chicken and mushroom. And I forgot to buy mushrooms.
Oh, God. That's
we start to beat ourselves up and we're like, what's wrong with you? How could you forget the mushrooms when this is literally called chicken and mushrooms? How did you forget to defrost the steak? You had this whole plan. How did you drop it on the floor? All of a sudden this narrator kicks in and is telling you how awful you are for not being able to do all of these things. And the guilt of well, now we're going through the Chick-fil-A drive-through once more. And all of that then adds on to the amount of stress you feel and the amount of taking away from your capacity.
And it's you tell yourself, you tell yourself those stories, right, Patricia? Like, this is why I can't maintain a budget. This is why
I can't be consistent. That's when we can't be consistent. Well, Patricia, I'm interested to know like what other structures you have and what other goodies you have for us. We'll find that out right after this.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I think I just won my taxes.
Yeah?
I just switched to H&R Block in about 1 minute. All I had to do was drag and drop last year's return into H&R Block, and bam, my information is automatically there.
So I don't have to go digging around for all my old papers to switch?
Nope.
Sounds like we just leveled up our tax game.
Switching to H&R Block is easy. Just drag and drop your last return. It's better with Block.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
So far, we've talked about taking that decision-making off of our plate, especially when it comes to meal planning and dinner. It was so funny. I was talking in our Joe with Joe this morning, which is in our Balance community, and about meal planning, how it's written on the board upstairs when my son comes down. And Bree's like, yeah, like every time my kids want to do it, I just want to like bitch slap someone that go look upstairs, on the board. I agree, Brie.
I get ragey. I mean, I'm going through perimenopause, so ragey helps out a lot lately. But I'm like, it's on the board. Is your name next to it? Then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Stop asking me.
Dinner will be served sometime between 5 and 7, people. That's all I can tell you.
That's all. What's another structure that we can look at implementing into our lives?
So actually, what you just said about saying like dinners between 5 and 7, I call those anchor points. So when you know, like a lot of times we think of a routine, it's like, well, okay, well, at precisely 5:02, I must take the meat out of the fridge. And then at 5:03, it's like, no, routines don't have to be like military precision. We're not doing brain surgery. We're not like sending rockets to the moon. Like it's more about how do you make it flexible for you and creating these anchor points in your day where you're like, this is where I know like it has to start or end. Like here's my cutoff, but I have all this wiggle room. So like if you think about a boat when it's on anchor, it's not like attached to one place and stuck there. The point of the anchor is to allow the boat wiggle space to be able to rise with the waves and like stay in the general area. So when we think about like when you're running your schedule for the day, and you say, okay, dinner's going to be between 5 and 7. When you have an anchor point of like, okay, by 4 o'clock, I'm going to start doing dinner things. Most ADHD people are not going at 3:57 to work on it. Like,
no. Like we're going to put that off a little bit. Let's push it a bit.
Right.
So in a lot of your clients, Patricia, do you find this whole like, you can't tell me what to do mentality? Like, do you find that happens a lot with ADHD people?
I would probably give it like a 50-50, roughly.
Yeah. I ask because that's pretty much a predominating theme in my life. Yes.
Wait, so what type are you, Patricia? Are you I can't keep to the, like, that's not what I'm feeling right now? Or are you more of you can't tell me what to, how does your mindset work with that?
If it is somebody else telling me what to do, a lot of times I'm like, don't tell me what to do. But if it's me, then it's like, well, I don't feel like that now. So true. I'm kind of, I guess, both of them, but more like a lot. I mean, because I run my own business, a lot more of what I do is because I decided that. And it'll be like, well, I don't really feel like that now. And so I do a lot of like work with myself. When I arrange my schedule, I look at my cycle syncing. I look at like, okay, do I have more time in the morning or in the afternoon? Because I know I have more like energy and more like creative brain power in the morning. And in the afternoon, I can get things done, but I'm not as not quite so energetic. So that's where I want to put the stuff that doesn't require as much mental fortitude.
Yeah. That's usually how I am too. I get like all the energy in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'm like, Netflix seems like a really good option right now.
And I'm like a balloon that just loses its air.
Yeah.
Plump.
So like looking at what are your patterns? What makes sense for you? And then setting up your day to match those things. So if you are a night person, maybe you do want to get a lot of stuff done before bed. But if you're not, then don't plan to get things done before bed. Because a lot of times we get in this like trap of like, hey, I'm really behind. I didn't get enough stuff done today. So I'm just going to do this when the kids go to bed. But then by that time, you don't have any energy left. And so it still doesn't get done. So it's like, why do we even plan to put the things after bed if we know we're not going to have energy then?
So how do you get out of that rut? So like, let's say you've got that mentality of don't tell me what to do, or I don't feel like doing it now. So if the I don't feel like doing it now says, you know what, I know I said I would do it now, but I'm going to push it off to after the kids go to bed. But then it's the end of the day. And like you just said, you're too tired, you're too burnt out. So how do you get out of that rut? Because you're used to being able to say, I don't feel like it.
What I found that tends to be the prevailing theme here, which is not everybody, obviously, is that the reason we think we have to get more stuff done after the kids go to bed is because, like, quote unquote, I'm so behind. And thinking that there's always more that needs to be done. And it's this, that internal narrator that's telling you didn't do enough and it wasn't good enough. And so therefore you have to get more done later because you didn't get enough done earlier. So I work a lot with that mindset of, I mean, did you really not get enough done? And if you didn't, okay, well, what's going on? Why is that happening? But most of the time, that's not it. Most of the time, it's that we tried to do too many things and it was not possible. Like literally not humanly possible to get 53 things done today. So instead, what we need to do is look at that list and say, what actually matters? What are your priorities? What are your values? Is this actually urgent? Because in ADHD land, usually everything's urgent because if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. So I got to get it done right now, but also I don't want to get it done right now. Like, but I can't push it off for later because it's never going to get done. So I got to do it right now. So
Bree's feeling seen again.
You're going to make me you're going to make me cry again here, Patricia. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When we start to look at, like, first of all, like, you are enough. You did enough. You are a great mom. You're doing your best. And that is good enough. And because you didn't organize the pantry for the second day, or sorry, not the second, like the 22nd day in a row that you said you're going to organize the pantry, that doesn't make you a bad person. And it's okay that your pantry is like this forever or just at least another week. That's okay.
Yeah.
But what are the things that actually matter? What are the things that truly will get you where you want to go? And like, I love this analogy that I had with a client who was like really upset that her guest room was a hot mess and she like really wanted to have people over, but the piles just keep growing. And she's beating herself up about how this guest room is a total disaster. And when we realize, like, the point wasn't to have an organized guest room. She really didn't care. She was not like a particularly organized person. The issue at home for her was that she wanted to have a really welcoming place because her childhood was not like a welcoming home environment. She wanted her house to be super welcoming. And so to have that guest room be a super welcoming place so that they could have friends stay with them, that was the motivating factor. So then it was really easy to clean out the guest room because the point was to have a really homey home, not to be super organized. So when we look at those like root causes and your priorities and your values, then all of a sudden we can find a way to make that happen in the capacity that you have.
I think that is such an important mind shift. And when it comes to motivation and when it comes to ADHD, when all you're thinking about is like, I don't want to do that, thinking in terms of like, well, what actually do you want to do with your life? It is a great way to switch things up. So Patricia, what do you have coming up for you that you're excited about?
Ooh, I would say the extroverted side of me is really loving my group coaching. I like changed up the structure a little bit and we meet twice a week and there's no curriculum, like there's no coursework. It's just coaching. And I'm in love with that right now because it's really lightening for moms to be like, I didn't have to do anything before I showed up. I'm not quote behind on my homework. And then like the introvert part of me is I'm working on a book. I'm writing my book proposal right now. So it's probably like the next 6 months of my life is dedicated mostly to that outside of my family. And a part of me is like real scared.
Yeah.
You mean that like, what is it about the rejection?
Rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's, you're putting it out there for someone else. I mean, literally like editing is just one giant undoing of the work you did and saying, this is not good. Scrap that. So
I have some things to say about that, but we'll talk after the podcast.
So there's this like piece of me that I'm so excited. Yeah. And like knowing that I'm taking on a really big project that is, I've never done it before. So I don't really know what I'm doing. And so how is this going to unfold? How do I still keep up with my podcast and
oh my God, yes,
author a book and still be a good mom and work out and figuring out where do my priorities lie and what really matters. And so I'm very excited, but also like, whoa, what did I just get myself into?
Yes, we're going to have a discussion about that right after because I've gone through it and I've done it. So like, yes, but we can have like a whole other episode.
I was going to tell you, Patricia, talking to you feels like a big, warm, fuzzy hug. Mm-hmm. It has just felt very warm and supportive. Then
I did my job right.
You did it. Yes. You did it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Patricia. And we can't wait to see you in the Happy Mom Summit either. So go and grab your ticket for that. And we'll talk to you later. You know, I was thinking this morning going into this podcast interview about ADHD, about our love for AI and how productive I can be with AI. And I'm like, why do I love it so much? Oh, probably because my brain wants to do a million things. And I've been dealing with people my whole life telling me, simplify, pick one thing, Joanne. And AI is like, no, you don't have to pick one thing. You could do them all. And it's like this big, like golden platter of opportunity for me. And I think that's why I love it.
And it also can keep up with your speed. Like that's the other thing I love about it. Because so many times when we're doing stuff, both on this podcast and just in general conversation, I have a bad tendency of interruption because it's that whole thought pops in your head and you got to get it out right now or else you're going to forget it kind of thing. I will literally cover my mouth to try to shut up to not interrupt on things. And I just love the fact that AI is like, no, go ahead, interrupt. It's fine. I'll just type really fast along with your next idea and the next one and the next one. I can keep up with you.
It keeps up with you. Yeah. I mean, it's like something that keeps up with us in our brains.
I will say it was hilarious recording this episode because, oh my God, the amount of like squirrel, like
energy
wanting to bounce in. Like Patricia was doing fantastic keeping on task. I never realized how distracting my enthusiasm could be. Right? When I'm like, oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. It was funny because we all were getting so excited during the conversation. And again, it's one of those things that it's nice to hear somebody else acknowledge that these issues, there is a community of this and that it's okay. And that stupid Bob that's in her head that's telling us we're not productive enough, we're not cleanly enough, we're not organized enough is full of crap.
I don't think the world is meant to work with our brains, honestly.
No, it's not. That's why
the world was designed not to work with our brains. It only works for certain people. And I think that's the benefit of realizing neurodiversity is that there are so many different brains that are able to accomplish so many different things that if we only gave them the support and structures for it, oh my gosh, what a place this place would be.
I 100% enthusiastically agree with that.
Yes. So quick reminders for you all. Happy Mom Summit's coming up. And Patricia, of course, is going to be in it. So we have a link for you right down there to get your ticket.
Your free
and we'll
ticket.
See you in there. Your free ticket. We're going to have so much fun in it. I mean, this is the place where like, if you feel like everyone else is telling you, you just have to be patient. This summit is going to turn it on its head. I mean, you are hanging out with some moms who do not feel like they need to be perfect and who do not feel like the world has been working for them. And this is how to make it work. It's going to be great. So until next time, remember, the best mom's a happy mom. Take care of you. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for stopping by.
If you'd like to support the show further, you can share episodes with your loved ones, leave a positive review, or follow us on social media at No Guilt Mom. You can also show your love by visiting our amazing podcast sponsors. We have a link in the show notes.
Are you a parent in need of a laugh and a little escape? Look no further. Parenting is a Joke is the podcast you've been waiting for. Hey, I'm Ophira Eisenberg. I'm a stand-up comic and parent. And each week I chat with one of my top comedian pals who, just like you, are juggling careers, busy lives and schedules, and raising a family. You can expect candid stories, hilarious mishaps that happen on stage and at home, and just a lot of laughs. There's no expert advice here. Well, actually, sometimes a good idea does sneak its way in, but mostly just pure, relatable fun to remind you that we're all in this parenting adventure together. New episodes of Parenting is a Joke drop every Tuesday, so tune in, get ready to laugh, unwind, and maybe even feel a little bit better about your own parenting. Because sometimes that's exactly what your therapist, pediatrician, and bartender ordered. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform.